Thank you for joining us today, and we are excited. We are really excited to have all of you today in our workshop, and this is a big opportunity for us to learn from each other and grow together. Our webinar today is dedicated to the topic Explore the Future of E-Commerce with Composable Commerce. And we will discuss today such topics as expert integration approaches, how to increase market share using integrations, and how composable commerce fits into all of this. So, are you ready to deep dive with us in such a topic? Yeah, hello. Before that start, it's time to a little bit communicate with all of us. And dear colleagues, please write us in chat just one word. Where are you located today? Where are you sitting now? I'm, for example, in Berlin now, and it's really hot today, 29 degrees the whole day. Harsh. Yeah. Kiev, Ukraine, welcome. Anybody else? Krakow, Kyiv. Yeah. Dnipro, Bangalore. Hi. Dnipro. Cool. Stockholm. UK, Swansea. So I didn't know this city. Simon, this is wonderful city should be. Wow. Welcome people, and let's go. Let's start. And for this hour, dear friends, you will hear from experts and companies such as Dinarys. Hanover. Hi, Hanover. Yeah, such a Dinarys. This is solution integrator in the e-commerce field. We're on the market for 10 years, and our goal is to transform our clients' ideas into efficient solution. Let me, scroll a little bit. My name is Jane Vishnova. I'm the CEO and founder of Dinarys, and I'm also digital transformation consultant with almost 10 years of experience, and I have advised about 100 customers about how to proceed in this world of digital transformation and how to gain their business achievements. Also, we're speaking today with Alex Sharko. He is our growth advisor at Dinarys GmbH, and he is a transformative executive with 20 years of experience. Wow, you are old. I didn't know. And and demonstrated history of assisting to software companies and startups with a significant growth. So Alex will tell you a little bit about his experience when he started. Also, we are presenting our webinar together with our reliable and great partner, Celigo. Celigo platform is a world-class integration platform as a service that allows IT and business teams alike to automate both common and custom business processes, enabling the entire organization to be more agile and innovative, faster than competitors, which is the most important part in the real world. And we will discuss today the successful case study, which will be presented by Marian Wagner. This is a solution consultant. Marian has 10 years of proven experience in designing and delivering solutions for complex businesses, and he is passionate about automating manual work and enhancing user experience through well-integrated technology process. So, dear colleagues, the most interesting and important for all of us part, if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask this in the Zoom chat today, and we will try to answer it in parallel. don't leave this in the end of workshop to make it more interactive with you. So let's start. Let's deep dive into the topic. Why we wanted to discuss today this topic of integration because of composable commerce. Yeah, a composable commerce trend is the market and why it's gaining so big popularity. It's a base word now, but what does it mean? Why we are talking about this? That actually allows business to have freedom of choose ideal set of technologies and combine them into unique composition that suits your business requirements. What does it mean? We are talking about this, let's say, two levels, front-end level and back-end level, that are not connected really together, but are connected with the help of layer, API layer. This way, even the most mature businesses gain the flexibility of a startup. And we will talk today about this topic more and more. So let's look briefly into the headless architecture into e-commerce. It includes separately front-end framework, separately commerce engine, separately all important part of e-commerce businesses, and connected via API orchestration layer. So the most important part of this process that the new service in headless architecture happens through this API calls. Those we have an API orchestration level, and that allow all of us, if we are going to from the monolithic to composable commerce or just composable architecture, to be more flexible. And now let's imagine that you are a monolithic product and you wanted to be modern on the market and to have more flexibility and to have more modern services implemented into your product. You have two options actually. You have options to migrate to the new technology stack, and that make a lot of work for your business team, for your technology team, technology partner, for all participants in this process, and that is really, really costly. That's supposed to have a huge budget. Or we could go other way. We could take this separately. We could take this from the monolithic step by step. And Alex will, I'm stopped to sharing my screen. This is his part. He will explain us in details how it looks like in the world of API orchestration layout.
Sure, with pleasure. Yeah. Could you also pass me the host to share? Yeah, I can share now. Awesome. Just give me a sec. Yeah. Okay. Can you see the screen? Perfect.
Yep.
Awesome. So yeah, pretty much what Jane was saying is that they usually kind of multiple approaches how you can move to something more flexible and decomposed, like you would call a microservice based or composable structure. The most reasonable from two perspectives, from a budget perspective and from time to market perspective, is actually the gradual migration that Jane mentioned. When you build up the certain structure that you can see here on the second screen that kind of encapsulates your existing services and new services that you will be adding under those interface layer of APIs, and you stream all and any request that you're getting from the end customers through this API layer. But this also enables you to start building up the new services on top of the existing functionality already in a microservice architecture, while keeping the monolithic and gradually decreasing its importance in a structure. So this way you actually can start servicing the client faster. You can spend budgets on where they really need it for the new products. not for just architecture and building it from ground up. The nuance here is actually those magic box that says integration glue, because to make it happen, and after you encapsulated the your infrastructure under behind the API layer, you need to have a certain seamless integration between the existing legacy systems and new system that you add to it. Which pretty much will be the main topic of today's conversation, like how you enable this integration layer, how you build it up, how you make those integration possible, flexible, fast, and etc. Additional main comment for not just for e-commerce, but especially for the e-commerce, that when you build up those new functionality, right now an existing e-commerce ecosystem, you shouldn't be building it by yourself. You shouldn't be in most rare situation, you should build it as the custom solution, and in much more often you would build it as the part of the existing tools. And probably Jane would add few more things about the tools that are on the market right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah, this is Mach architecture approach that now is really modern on the market. Means that microservices, API first approach, cloud-based and headless that I mentioned before, and all this logo means the partnership that already exists, and you could just use this already existing platform and include this to your ecosystem and use it really quickly. So time to market is really quick to using this functionality.
As a company, we actually started building the partnerships with the most kind of the key players in the market, so that when we serve the client, when we pick the tools for this integration, when we start building on top of the existing ecosystem, we actually work with the partners, and we work with the seamless integrations. So I'll pass the word to Marianne to describe one of the cases and approaches how you would use Celigo to actually build the integration layer that we just talked about.
Yes, thank you very much, Alex. So this is the order to cash process that you see here, and this is one of the most common use cases that we support with our platform. So this is also one of the most important use cases any e-commerce business is probably facing. We start here on the left-hand side with receiving orders, and this is then coming in through, for example, your shop system. This can be Shopify or Magento or Salesforce Commerce Cloud, for example, but also any sort of marketplace that you are working with. And then after that, you probably want to receive the payment for that order. So you are also working with payment gateways like PayPal, Braintree, or Stripe, for example. And then you have in the following steps also other systems. And this is what we commonly see these days, that you really have specialized systems for every step. And this means that companies are using more and more systems that are usually not integrated, but are working together in the process. So this is why there is a strong need for integrations between these systems to have a smooth rolling flow. So this one here ends then with the fulfillment in the ERP system, and then at the end also the bookkeeping and reconciliation. And you see already that there are many systems involved in this single process here. But if we go to the next slide, then you can see that if you look into a company as a whole, then each department is using their own systems. And then if you count that, you can easily, in a mid-sized company already, come to over 100 systems that are in use. And they also are used in different processes with different needs by different departments who need to have access to the data from other departments probably, or who have processes that are sending data between different departments. And you always want to make sure that the data has the right quality that you need, that it is accessible by the people who need to work with that data. And also you want to minimize errors, because if you imagine humans sending data from one system to the other system, maybe by typing in it into an email and then sending it to a colleague who then puts it into another system, this is very error prone, and you want to do that these days anymore. And then at the same time, with the composable approach, you always want to have flexibility to switch out any of these systems at any point in time so that your business can stay flexible and at the edge of the curve, I would say, when it comes to latest developments. Yes, that's all I wanted to share for now. Back to you, Jane.
Thank you, Marian. And that is a brief introduction about how API orchestration level works for different type of businesses. Today we're talking about e-commerce, and e-commerce levels of maturity is the next topic that will be highlighted by Alex, and that is really interesting to understand about maturity level, data structuring in different maturity level, or I would say data struggling in different maturity levels. So Alex, please, your turn.
So sure, with pleasure. So for different stages of the history of the company, the integration may play a different role. And when we service the client, when we actually build up the integration, we want to be aware of like what is the actual struggle, because in a different kind of level and step of the journey, the struggle, the biggest challenges are actually different. So you can see that we could consider it as the three kind of notional groups of the early stage company that's not yet built up and actually building the first e-commerce approach and want to build it in a modern kind of trends using the composable architecture. Then there is the company that actually already have a certain history, already have a certain pre-built setup, but now it's actually struggling to scale. And whether it's already open for the composable or with a certain level of the consulting from our side, kind of we're moving to the idea that, okay, so to make it possible to scale or to make the scaling the most efficient, we want to make it in a composable way to actually enable those flexibility to start moving with one of the approaches, with the approach that I mentioned earlier. And then obviously there is the bigger, more mature company that already have a lot of legacy pre-set up, multi-region, multi-country setup, different data pools, a lot of what have already been built and a lot of what's working more or less efficiently and mostly less. And now they want to actually keep on scaling. They want to re-architect. They want to decrease and optimize the cost. Because in most of the situation, they are actually reaching the limits of the maintenance, reasonable maintenance, operational costs, the abilities and capabilities of the system that they use. And now they want to enable them to become flexible again. So obviously, like approaching this business cases, we need to work with them differently, and we need to be aware, like what is the most painful point we need to resolve first, kind of while building the integration. So for all of them, there are some things that are similar for all of them, which we'll talk in a minute. But for going into specifics, we talk about that for smaller business, we see the usually lack of everything, lack of structure, lack of architecture, lack of knowledge, lack of data, and now kind of the desire to build up a certain system that will be prone for growth and able for growth in future, not to re-architect it in a year or two. So what we help is to actually to build up the reasonable architecture and first integrations in a fast way. Plus, obviously, the smaller business have the much more constraints financially, and kind of we approach it as like, what is the minimum architecture that will be able to grow further, but we can build up with the first integration as fast and as cheap as possible for them. For scaling business, as I mentioned, their main problems is that they have already something, but it was not designed to be scaled. And now we kind of like working with the quality of the data, or with the certain personalization level that usually not enough to be in a trends with the current e-commerce trends to be as personalized as possible. And obviously the inventory management, product information is not yet structured enough, etc. So what we would do is actually we help to clean this up, to prepare it for scaling, and also build up the first integrations, spending as less as needed to have it flexible. For the bigger companies, it is an even bigger cleanup, and it is a bigger consideration, like what it is in terms of ROI will be the most efficient parts of the existing ecosystem to start re-architecting. Like, so for example, if it's like the product information management system that already reached the top and actually is a pain in all the places of the body for the support team of this company, or is it the limitation that prevents companies to actually penetrate new market, or inability to update the storefronts as fast as possible, or to do the multi-channel sales that is actually right now blocking the general strategy of the company. In all these cases, we build up a certain roadmap of the integrations and start building them together. So for any integration, a big part is the actually data mapping. So for e-commerce specifically, but pretty much for any business, I have been built the pipeline in my previous company in C Prime, which is the transformation consulting company. I have been built the pipeline of 6 million in revenue for based solely on integration business. And we built a lot of integration, more than 300 integrations within 1 year. And actually, in all of them, the most critical part was the data mapping. So obviously, there are the aspects, a lot of complexity may come from existing context of the client, but what I'm talking when I mean what I mean when I'm talking about the field mapping is the idea that there is a business entities in existing system, and then we start building a new architecture of the when we start distributing from Monolithic to a number of the different systems, and we want to make sure that these business entities are connected correctly. By concept, it doesn't sound like something as the rocket science, because pretty much it's logical, right? You have the entity here, you now want to distribute it between two systems, so it's logical that you need to map it here. But once you start working with the actual tools, with the actual data formats, the actual field supported by these tools, especially as here we're working with the existing systems, to map correctly and to make sure that during the integration, the data is actually transferred with all these aspects, starting from the different attachments, context, localization to different languages, access rights, history of the change, the right to change, actually, to resolving the problem of the concurrent changes when the data is updated in two different systems, and etc. So there is a certain flow that goes for every discovery phase we do with the client when we identify those field mapping and those data processing logic. And the more professionally we do this step, the much less kind of unexpected pain and data loss we may encounter further down the pipeline. So as I said, in addition to those specifics for problems that encounter company in different maturity levels, there are some that one need to be aware for any integration process, or more specifically for any process of moving from monolithic to microservices and distributed architecture. So the idea is that the things that you used to have in the same place is actually started being distributed across different systems. Part of them you don't control fully if you use the existing tools. So we're talking about the monitoring the customer journey. We talk about the actually gathering the data, systematic the data, normalizing it for the further analysis. We're talking about the connecting of the logistics across different regions in the systems, obviously gathering the financial data and safety of the data during the process of exchange, but also on every part of the system when and how it is stored. So most of this problems actually resolved in a more or less conventional way, but the idea is that when planning the integration, when planning the move to the more distributed architecture, all of this need to be discussed, considered, and actually put to work. So to compare the effectiveness, so as I mentioned, we try to pick like as efficient, as financially efficient and time efficient solution as possible. So is there a reflection of this in money? So yeah, of course there is. So here's an example of the monolithic system like Magento and the usual integration that we do here. You can see the numbers and you can see the steps. The main idea here is that when you work with a monolithic integration without decomposition the system to the Mach architecture, you will be doing these integrations as less reusable as possible on every step. So you will not be able to reuse this integration. You will not be able to reuse the mapping of these fields. you will be stick to the existing monolithic system without ability to make it flexible or agnostic or to do the updates in particular smaller parts. But also you are actually stick to the rules of how this particular system is in exchange with the others. While in a newer way, when you have a more distributed and more flexible system, you can start working gradually or in smaller steps and actually complete the whole integration in a much more efficient way. But also you have the ability to do it in iteratively, like running the pilot integration based on the specific field map and you designed, testing that everything goes as expected, and actually then running and expanding the full integration up to the maintenance testing and keep on optimizing. So gradually growing the flexibility of the new system. And here I'll pass again a word to Marianne to show how it works in practice.
One second, I wanted to interrupt here a little bit. So regarding questions, colleagues, don't hesitate to ask if you have any questions so far, and we would like to give to make a little poll regarding the composable commerce that you might be heard before, maybe not, maybe you are thinking about this. Just feel free to put some answer here that will be more iterative for us to understand better your request in your organization, or to adjust our workshop regarding that. Yeah, Marianne, please, let's proceed with the demo on the case study we prepared, and yeah, let's go further.
Okay, let's go. So you should be able to see my screen now. I'm logged into my demo account here. So usually when you have a new CDGO account, then it would be empty on the screen. But if you have set up your first integrations, they will show up here and be represented by one of these tiles. But we always suggest going first to our marketplace, because this is where you will find everything that we have pre-built, so out of the box solutions. And then you can search, for example, for your shop system that you are using. So let's take Magento as an example, and then it will show you all the pre-built integrations that we have between Magento and other systems. But you can really search for any system here or marketplaces or your ERP system, and then it will show you what we have out of the box. And then if you install that, it will be represented by one of these tiles here that always show you what you have integrated here, so the names of the systems, and then an indication if everything is running smoothly or if there are any errors, for example. And if I open this Shopify to NetSuite example here, then you can see that this has a list of flows, how we call them. So each flow represents one type of data that we send from one to another system. And then in the e-commerce example here, one flow would, for example, be synchronizing the orders from Shopify to NetSuite. And I can also open one of these flows so that you can see how it looks like. And it is a really nice graphical overview that can be understood by technical and non-technical roles. And you can see here that we start on the left-hand side with getting orders from Shopify. So we export the data, and this is running in real time, by the way. So anytime there's a new Shopify order, then it will get pushed to our system. And then in the next step, we will import that into the ERP system, NetSuite in this case. And in between, you could, of course, set up filters or do transformations to the data. Alex mentioned already that also the field mapping is very important. So this would be set up here. And the good thing is that for this integration, you get all this pre-filled already, so that you have a starting point. And once a system is connected to our platform, then you will always be able to just click in here into the field And then you see what fields we have access to. So you don't have to know every field top of your head or check the API reference every time. You can simply click in here, and then we will show you what fields you can work with on the platform. And this is just one example, but there are many other flows in this pre-build here. And if you don't find a pre-build on the marketplace, then you can always use the flow builder. So this is like a green field where you can build your own flows from scratch. And then you simply add any system that you would like to connect. And here we also have, I think by now, almost 1,000 systems in this list that we have pre-built connectors for that make it very easy to build flows to these systems. And if a system is missing, then you can always use our universal connectors. So as long as the system has any way of communication, in most cases that will probably be a REST API, then we can connect to that. But you can also use other mechanisms like file-based data exchange, for example. And then once you have your flow up and running, you will always see the status on the dashboard here, where you can check how often a flow has run, how often it was successful, if there were any errors, and if we could automatically resolve these errors, because we have an AI running in the background that checks for reoccurring errors and then tries to solve them automatically for you. And you have to keep in mind that the platform is meant to be set up and then it runs in the background. So this is not something that you would log into on a daily basis. But if something goes wrong, then we will send your users a notification, and then they can log in and see that, for example, here are some errors in this integration. And then you can really easily dig into where the error is coming from. You go to the group of flows and then check for which flow has an error, and then see which step has the error in that flow until you reach the raw error information that we get from the system, and also the payload that we send to that system, so that you can make updates to that and then retry starting the flow. And then hopefully it's solved. And if not, then you can check the flow and see if there's maybe something wrong with the settings. And yes, this is the error handling. And if you want to learn how to use the platform and how to build your own integrations, then you can always go to the Celigo University. This is where we have many trainings that are also completely free. I always recommend doing at least level 1 and 2. We have trainings up to level 4. And then after that, more specific trainings for each combination of system that is commonly used in the market. And by doing level 1 and 2, you will already have a good understanding of how the platform works and the functionalities. And it will enable you to work with the platform and build your own simple flows. And then for more complex flows, where you have also complex data transformations, for example, this is where you would go through level 3 and 4. And you can also sign up for a free trial account. So if you want to try out our platform, you can simply go to integrator.io/sign up and get yourself a free trial account. And one important thing is also that everything that you build on the platform can always be reused in coming flows. So if you have any integration to a marketplace, for example, or to a trading partner, then in many cases, the integration to another trading partner will be very similar. And that is why you will find all your resources here under the resources tab. So all the connections, imports, exports, and so on, so that you can simply clone them and reuse them in the next flow. And this is also helpful when you are exchanging one of the systems for another one, so that you don't have to always start from scratch. And this can also help you, for example, expanding into other countries with your integrations, making it really simple to build integrations. And then you can also, if you have an account, invite as many users for free as you want with different roles to your account so that you can really nicely collaborate on the platform with your team. And also at the same time, make sure that only specific users can do changes to the integrations, for example, and others only have monitor permissions. Yes, that's all I wanted to show today. Please ask any questions you might have, and then we will answer it right away or at the end. But yes, that's it for the demo part.
Yeah, so we have a question regarding Shopify. Can it be synced between multiple stores that the partner owns in order to manage business in just one place? Let's say order collections or product management.
Yes, so you can also set up multiple stores. So this is also a very common use case for us. And then this would be represented here by additional stores that you can set up here. So this is a very common scenario. And what is also supported is, for example, the Shopify Markets edition, where you have one Shopify account that takes care of multiple countries.
Cool. Thank you, Marian. Regarding the time of implementation, let's discuss this. Let's say on the estimation level. So we mentioned previously. Alex mentioned previously regarding the estimation of creation integration from the scratch. If you are talking about, let's say, a monolithic platform, Magento Shopware, or even let's take big commerce, and we would like to make the integration through a legal platform with the existing flows. What numbers we could get here?
Marian, I guess that's more about the capabilities of to run the integration directly using the pre-built tools on Celigo. So would you comment on that?
So you mean the by numbers, you mean like the effort for integrating these systems?
Yeah.
Yes, so what we usually expect are for integration between a shop system and, for example, NetSuite with one of our pre-builds, like 20 to 25 hours. And then this will be, yes, this will be spread over maybe 1 or 2 months, of course, because you also want to make sure that you are testing everything properly. We also offer you a sandbox environment where you can set up the whole integration before you switch on your live environment. But it also depends on your technical capabilities, of course. So we have different approaches there. You can do everything yourself using the Celigo University, but you can also work with our partners like Dinarys or work with us directly. So there are different options there that will determine at the end how quickly the integration will be done, of course. But yeah, just to give a rough estimation.
Cool. Thank you, Marianne. Yeah, and yeah, we have another question. Where are you in compared to competitors, for example, Boomi?
Yes, so I think one big differentiator is always the set of pre-builds that we offer. So the marketplace that I've just shown. So if you are comparing us to Boomi, for example, then it would make sense to always check what we have out of the box already. And this will, of course, make the integration a lot easier and probably also cheaper at the end. And then otherwise, what I hear often is, for example, that our platform is very easy to work with. I've just shown you the user interface. It's very modern and very clean, and can be used by different roles in the company. And we are always improving that also. at the moment. For example, we have just released a feature that adds AI-generated description to flows to really enable anyone to understand what a flow is doing. For example, if they are starting to newly work on the platform and just want to see what the flows are doing that are there. And yeah, so that's it, I would say.
Well, thank you, Marian. We have another question. Another question related to just Shopify. Let's say customer has 2 stores on different platforms, WooCommerce and Shopify. Is it possible to manage products and orders between those? And key point here is a data differentiation. WooCommerce just fields and variations, and Shopify's meta field and limited product variants.
Yes, I see. So as you have seen in my account, there were multiple integration tiles. So if you set up an integration between your ERP system and WooCommerce and Shopify, then this would be 2 different tiles where you can set up completely separate flows with different needs to support these systems. So you will have your own field mapping table for Shopify orders and your own field mapping table for WooCommerce orders, for example, and also how the products and items are managed between these systems. So this is how it would be set up on our platform. And this also makes it very easy in maintaining the integrations because you don't have to shut down everything. If you want to make any changes, you can always start working on one or the other integration in parallel while the other integration is still running. And you can even switch off your integration flow by flow, by the way. So yes, I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, Andrew, if anything else additionally, just let us know.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So I think kind of like as a maybe Jane will add something too, but to wrap up from my side, I wanted to say so the move to the more flexible architecture, move to the ability to integrate new tools as fast as you want to exchange them, move to be diverse and multi-channel is actually invaluable for the business nowadays. So this is the only way to be actually competitive on a very complex e-commerce scene right now. And there are a lot of benefits of becoming more flexible, starting from technology agnostic and being able to combine the best of what market could provide you independently of how this different components are actually built, because you can tie them together with the reasonable set of the integrations and build optimally. Are there any downsides? Like what is the downside of moving to the microservices? By default, the answer to this would be the more complex maintenance, but this is pretty much the core of the service, like the one that Dinarys is providing. So our main goal is actually to give you the understanding, to give the client company the understanding, like what you can achieve with becoming more flexible and distributed to help you build the most efficient architecture, and actually then using the partnerships with Celigo um, and ability to build the custom integrations on top of it to build you the most efficient combination of the tools that you will need now and that will enable you for scaling further, but also to help you maintain it with your own operational departments, or actually using the maintenance services from us and Celigo. And then you actually strive to spend the money where you need to actually giving them better experience to end users and more flexible and modern system to serve them.
Thank you, Alex. Thank you, Marian, for your pitches, and that was awesome. And colleagues, if you have any questions so far, please don't hesitate. We have still some time today, and yeah, thank you, Marian. And regarding next step, we will create for you the recording of today's webinar. We'll send to your email, and there is additional bonus from us that will be into the email, so don't miss it up. And yeah, Please follow us I normally do all announcement on next steps on LinkedIn, on our next webinars. So looking forward to see you again, and thank you for your attention, for your time today.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you also from my side, and hopefully speak again soon.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Thank you.
Okay, great. And have a good evening, everyone.
Thank you.
Have a good evening.
Have
Bye.
a nice day.
Bye bye.